After 7 p.m., this street doesn't belong to humans anymore. People say anyone who walks through it at night never comes back. Last night, a girl made one small mistake. She took a shortcut. She heard footsteps right behind her. When she turned around, there was no one there. But when she checked her phone camera, her screen...
Every apartment complex has rules. No pets, no loud music after 10 p.m., no parties on weekdays. Simple rules, normal rules. But Silver Oak Residences had one rule that was different from everything else. It was handwritten on a separate page inside the welcome handbook. Not typed, not printed, handwritten, like whoever wrote it wanted to make sure you felt the weight of every single word. After 7 p.m., lock every door, seal every window. Do not open them for any reason. Do not look outside. Do not go out. No exceptions. No explanation, no reason given, just the rule. And for 3 years, every single resident followed it without question. Until Ryan Carter moved in. Chapter 1. The Man Who Needed Silence. Ryan Carter was 28 years old and completely burned out. 6 years of working 14-hour days as a freelance data analyst in Chicago had taken everything from him. His social life was gone, his sleep was destroyed. He'd been surviving on caffeine and deadline pressure for so long that he'd forgotten what a quiet morning felt like. His doctor told him 6 months ago, "Ryan, if you don't slow down, your body is going to force you to." He didn't listen then. But after collapsing at his desk at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night, waking up on the floor with no memory of falling, he finally started listening. He needed to get out of the city, far out, somewhere quiet, somewhere he could breathe. So he started searching online for remote apartments, cheap rentals, anything outside the city grid. And after 2 weeks of scrolling through nothing useful, he found it. Silver Oak Residences. The listing photos showed a wide, clean apartment complex surrounded by tall trees, big rooms, high ceilings, natural light coming through large windows, a small community garden, a gym inside the complex itself. And the price. 2-bedroom apartment, fully furnished, utilities included, 40% below market rate. Ryan stared at the screen for a long time. Something in the back of his mind said, "That's too cheap. Something is wrong." He ignored it. He called the number in the listing. Chapter 2. Mr. Marsh. The property manager's name was Harold Marsh. He was in his late 50s, silver hair, neat and combed back, a warm handshake, a permanent smile that sat comfortably on his face like it had always been there, the kind of man you trusted before he'd said anything worth trusting. He met Ryan at the entrance of Silver Oak on a bright Tuesday morning. "Ryan, welcome!"
Chapter 3. The First Evening. Moving day was chaotic and exhausting. Ryan had rented a small truck, done most of the loading himself, and by the time he had everything inside the apartment, he was completely drained. The idea of cooking anything was laughable. He checked the time. 6:15 p.m. Plenty of time to grab food from the store downstairs. He headed down and immediately noticed something strange. The community, which had been quiet but normally active all day, was now in a completely different state. People were moving fast, not running, but the kind of walking that was right on the edge of running. Purposeful, urgent, eyes forward. At the store, the shelves were half emptied. The cashier, a middle-aged woman named Linda, according to her name tag, was scanning items so fast her hands were almost a blur. "Hey, can I get some of those rolls from the back? I don't see them on the shelf." "No time for the back," Linda said without looking up. "Take what's on the shelf or come back tomorrow morning." "I just need 5 minutes." "Sir?" She finally looked up. Her eyes were not unkind, but they were absolutely serious. It is 7:40. I close at 6:50 and I need to be in my apartment by 7. Please make your selections." Ryan grabbed what was on the shelf, paid, and left. Outside, the courtyard was now completely empty. Not a single person, like a switch had been flipped, and everyone just vanished. He was halfway back to his building when he saw Dave, the security guard who'd helped him carry boxes earlier that day, moving at a near jog across the courtyard. "Dave, hey man, I had one more heavy box in the truck." "Tomorrow, brother. First thing tomorrow morning I'm there, but right now I gotta go." "It's not even 7 yet." But Dave was already through the door of his building, and it was closing behind him. Ryan stood alone in the empty courtyard. The trees at the edge of the property seemed taller in the fading light, closer somehow. The sky between their tops was a deep, bruised purple. The fountain in the center of the courtyard had been...
Chapter 4, 3 a.m. Ryan lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The apartment was silent, not city silent, not the muffled roar of traffic and sirens and neighbors. Completely silent, the kind of silence that had weight to it, that pressed against your eardrums. He kept thinking about the old man, the red eyes, the way he'd said, "Before it smells you." Before what smells you? A coyote doesn't smell you from inside a sealed apartment. A predator doesn't require every window in the building to be locked. That wasn't a wildlife problem. That wasn't anything as simple as wildlife. He stared at the ceiling for a long time. Eventually, despite everything, exhaustion from moving day pulled him under and he fell asleep. At 3:07 a.m., Ryan's eyes snapped open. The room was freezing. Not cold, freezing. His breath was visible in the darkness, small white clouds rising toward the ceiling. The temperature had dropped so far, so fast, that his exposed arms were covered in goosebumps and his fingers had gone slightly numb. He sat up slowly. The room was dark, but not completely. The thin strip of light from outside the balcony door gave just enough to see shapes and shadows. And in the far corner of the room, there was a shape that didn't belong. Ryan went very still. It was standing in the corner, tall, pale, not white, but a kind of sickly, washed-out gray. It had the rough outline of a human body, but the proportions were wrong in ways that were hard to look at directly. The arms too long, the neck too thin, the head slightly too large for the shoulders, and where the face should have been, just darkness, two deep black voids where the eyes should be, no nose, no mouth.
The next morning, pale and hollow-eyed, Ryan went to the courtyard. The complex had come back to life with daylight, people walking dogs, kids on the pathway, the fountain running again. Like the previous evening had been a completely different reality. He found two men about his age sitting near the garden, Marcus and Joel, neighbors from the building next to his. They invited him to sit. He didn't waste time. "Last night," Ryan said, I don't know what I had, a dream maybe, but it felt completely real. And the temperature in my room dropped to nothing at around 3 a.m. Marcus and Joel exchanged a look. "First week?" Marcus asked. "Moved in yesterday." Joel nodded slowly. "Yeah, first few weeks here are rough. You get used to it." "Get used to what? What is it? Everyone acts like the 7 p.m. rule is about coyotes, but that doesn't explain what happened in my room." Marcus leaned forward, lowering his voice even though there was nobody nearby. "Nobody really knows for sure. The official story is wildlife, but people talk." "What do people say?" "Some people say it's a woman," Joel said. "Old story, like pre-Civil War old. Woman was killed somewhere near here, out in those woods. They say she comes back every night looking for the man who did it, and she can't tell the difference between him and anyone else."
Some people say it's not a person at all, Marcus added. Just something that's always been out there in those woods, something old. And the noise it makes, people have heard it some nights when the wind is right. It gets inside your head and makes you see things. Ryan stared at him. The noise it makes. Yeah, people say if you hear it clearly enough, like if your window is open, it's all over. Your brain just stops working right. Ryan sat with that for a moment. Has anyone ever actually been hurt